Okay. But we're going to start with very basic constructions, and then we will kind of jump. Well, we'll start with basic constructions right now for what we're going to be learning. Okay, just a few things. All right, so we'll call this constructions. And don't forget, right, you will have this sheet available to you on your first quiz. So if you're afraid you're going to like forget how to do some of these, right? Don't forget you'll have your notes available to you, so you can kind of like look at it and see what you did exactly. Okay, so first construction we're going to look at is copying a segment. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is copy a segment. All right, so let me get my straight edge here. So we're going to be using the protractors, but we're only going to be using the protractors as a straight edge. That is, you know, as something that draws a straight line. We are not actually going to be using them to measure angles at all here, all right, in this case. We're going to just be using it to make a straight line. So to copy a segment, well, you first need to start out with a segment that you're going to copy. So we'll go ahead and just like draw a segment here, all right, and then put some endpoints on it. And let's just call this segment A, B. All right, so again, you don't need a compass for that. We're just going to draw a segment AB. Okay, and then we're going to, as an example here, we're going to copy segment AB below. All right. Now, some of you guys are probably already thinking, Mr. Wood, why do we need a compass? Why can't I just take my ruler here and go, let's see, A to B is about 4.1 centimeters, and why can't I just go over here and put a little point right here at 0 and put a little point right here at 4.1 and say, aha, there's my copied segment. It's the same thing. And you're right, for the most part. I mean, that is one way you could do it, okay? But again, we're going to use constructions, all right? And if I ask you to use constructions, if I ask you to show me your work, then just doing that measurement with the ruler is not going to be good enough, okay? What I want you to do, you'll need to be able to show me these construction marks, and so I'll be looking for the construction marks. If I don't see like the correct markings, then I'll kind of know that you, I don't want to say cheated, but you didn't do what I asked you to do, okay? So please, you know, to copy, it's very easy. It's very easy. Let me show you. All you got to do here to copy this segment is we're going to start with a segment over here as well, but we're going to make it longer than what we need. Okay, so just use your straight edge and go ahead and just make a segment, but make it longer than what you need. All right, and I'll go ahead and start here. I'll call that point C. All right, so just make it longer than what you need. Use your eyeball, whatever it is. All right. And so now to use our compass here, all right, we're going to take our compass and we're going to adjust our compass so that it is the same length from A to B. So I'm going to have to you know, open up my arm there. I'll put my point down on A and then adjust my compass so that the pencil is at B. And in fact, what I want you to do is make a little swipe there. So hold the pointy side of your compass, hold that, and then use it to turn and rotate through that point B there. Make a little swipe like this. Okay, we're just going to make a swipe just right through point B, just like that. Okay, what is that doing? That's showing that we're marking this distance. We're measuring that distance right there. I've got the exact distance from A to B. Okay, so far so good. Again, if you guys have difficulty or you're stuck on something, let me know. All right. And then once you have AB marked off, without opening or closing your compass, we're going to move over here, and now where should I put the point of my compass? On C, exactly right. Put the point of the compass on C, and do the exact same maneuver. Swipe through there. Okay? And so now that I've done that, where should the end point of my segment be? Yeah, where the swipe is, exactly right. This is where my end point should be, and I'll call that D for this case. Okay? So again, all I did, compass point on A, made a swipe there to just measure off B. You have to adjust your compass. Without opening or closing your compass, point on C, and then swipe through again, and then that gets you where point D has to be. Any questions on any of that? Okay, we're all okay? Anyone stuck? Anyone not able to do that? All right, we're good. Okay, cool. So again, now the question is, all right, Mr. Whitmire, should I erase my marks? No, do not erase these marks. Okay, this is like showing your work, right? This would be like if you solved an equation and you got x equals a number, but then you erased everything that you did to solve that equation. Okay, this is part of your work right here. If you want, you can like erase back some of the marks, like you can erase them down if you don't like how big you made them or something like that. You can like erase them back, that's fine. You can also like erase away some of this extra segment if you want to, but it's not necessary. You could leave it there too, that's fine, okay? Because again, it's just part of your work, and this is the copy of the segment that we want. All right, let's try another one here. So using that same kind of skill, now I'm going to start out here with another example, all right? And I'm going to start out with segment AB here, all right? And then I'm going to do a longer segment, EF. Okay, so I'm going to draw us two segments. All right, and here's what I'm going to have us do. I want us to draw, and we'll call this next segment, I don't know, we'll call it segment CD. Draw segment CD so that CD equals AB plus EF. Okay? So we're going to draw a segment CD over here so that we know that CD is the same length as AB plus EF. All right? In fact, I'm going to go ahead and give you like 30 seconds to think about that and maybe even do it on your own. 30 seconds to a minute, okay? I'll walk around. And if you're not sure, if you're like, I have no idea how to do this, that's fine. You just wait patiently for 30 seconds or a minute, okay? And I'll come around and kind of check and see. So again, go ahead and try and draw that. A segment that you know is the length of AB plus EF. Using your compass and your straight edge there, try and draw a segment that you know is the same length as AB plus EF together. If you're completely unsure, that's fine. Just pause and wait. But go ahead and give that a shot. Not sure? Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. If you want to ask a question, I'm going to come around. You can ask any questions you want. But think about how you could use the copying. Again, we're going to use the copying a segment. We're copying a segment. So how can we copy segments to make this happen? How can we copy segments to make this happen? Take the small one. You have any questions? You're unsure? You just want to check to see if you're doing this right? Yeah, that's okay. They don't need to be very sharp. Okay. If you're stuck, that's okay. Any questions? Any questions?
You seem to like using chopsticks.
Looks good. Nicely done. Nicely done. Very good. Yes, okay. Some people are getting it here. I see already. Very good. Very impressive. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Okay, I need to add what you need to add.
I actually giving you a bigger straight edge there. I think you just ran out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Plus the F, okay.
Nicely done. Okay. We'll bring it over here. Okay. All right. So let's kind of come back together here. I see a few people were able to come up with something. So would someone like to share how they did this? All right. So let's go to Elijah. Go ahead. So let's listen up here and see what Elijah did to make this happen. So Elijah, what should we do? How should we start?
I did the same thing we did with AB. I just measured it the same way.
Okay, so to start out here, I should start out by doing what? Yep, we need to start another line, and this time, since we know we're going to be doing AB plus EF, we should probably try and make something that's longer than both, like if we were to imagine, something that's longer than both of these combined, okay? So I'm going to make it really long here. Okay, so I'll make it really long. Okay, great. And we'll start with our starting point here, C. And now what? Now what should we do there? Once we have that all kind of started out there, Elijah, what's next? Measure AB. All right, great. Let's do that here. We can do that. We just talked about how to do that. So point on A, adjust your pencil point so that it's on B, and then again, show a little swipe there to show that you're measuring that off. Okay, it's just a nice little swipe. All right, and so now we've measured AB, and what are we going to do with that now? Yep. Keep the same opening, and we'll just swipe there. And so now what we've done is we've copied the length of AB. Right? That was AB there. We're copying it to right there. So we swiped there to get that measurement, and we swiped here to get that measurement. Like that. Okay? So far, so good? All right, now what, Elijah?
I put a point where I put the swipe.
Okay, a point right here.
And then measure line EF.
Okay, we're going to measure line segment here, EF. So there's E to F. Again, lock or adjust your compass there. And again, show that swipe that we're measuring now, EF. And now, where should I put the point of my compass? Should I put my point of my compass here on C? No. Okay. Where should I put it?
On the point that you just made.
This point we just made. Right. We're adding to that copy, so we're going to add to it. So we're going to put it on that next point and then put it right there. So you see, we copied and then we added to that copy the EF, and then what can I label this point now? D. That's right. We're going to label that point D. Okay. So there it is, from C to D. We've added those two things together. Okay. All right. Hypothetically here, you don't have to do this one, but let me just saw it. So what about if I wanted to make? What if I wanted to draw GH, segment GH, so that GH is equal to, now in my case, because my EF is longer than AB, I can do this. I want to make my GH equal to EF minus AB. All right? So if I wanted to make a GH segment that was equal to EF minus AB, how should I go about doing that? Which one should I copy first? EF, right. So in this case, I'd want to copy the EF first, okay, so which is already there measured. And you don't have to do this one, okay, I'm just going to do it just to show you guys, just so you can see that, okay. All right, so I'm going to copy EF here, call that point G, okay, swipe it, right. And so there's a copy of EF, but now what do I want to do to show minus AB? What should I do now? Go ahead, Debbie. Measure AB. Okay, we need to know AB's measure there. Okay, and then what? Now that I have that measured.
And then I kind of turn it so that the point is on the point.
Yeah, so don't swipe on this side, because that would be adding it. We're going to swipe back this amount. There you go. Good job. Exactly right. So that subtracts off this segment, and there's GH. Okay. So again, rather than adding onto it at the end, because we were adding them here, we want to subtract it. So I took EF's measurement, subtracted back AB's to get to the segment GH there. Okay, so you can see kind of some like mathematics kind of stuff here without actual numbers, right? But we're still kind of doing math. We can do addition and subtraction of things. You know, we can add two things together. All right. There's no numbers involved, though. We can still do addition with no numbers involved. Kind of interesting. All right, we're good on that one? Let's do another one. All right, new skill. Next one, we're going to copy an angle. Copy an angle. All right, and then to copy an angle, you need to start with an angle to copy, okay? So let's start with an angle here. You can draw any old angle you want. I'd suggest starting with an acute angle first, and then we'll do an obtuse angle. All right, so we'll call this angle A, B, C. Okay, and over here then, as an example, we will copy angle A, B, C. Now, I'll say this. The angle constructions tend to be a little bit more tricky than the segment constructions. I'm not sure exactly why, but they just tend to be a little more tricky. Maybe there's more involved. I don't know. Okay? But the angle ones tend to be a little bit trickier. But, again, I feel like we're doing all right so far. Let's just keep rolling with it here. So, we're going to copy angle ABC over to here. In order to copy this, just like before, right, in order to copy this segment, I needed a starting place. I still had to start with something, right? I had to, like, just start with something. So, in the same way here, I have to start with something. I can't just, like, start copying into a blank white space there. So, I'm going to start with a side of my angle already done. All right? So, I'm already going to start with a side of this angle. So, you can see that this side is going to be matching up kind of like this bottom side right here. All right. And so that means this point is going to correspond to what, or match to what point over here? It's going to be point B, or ray BC, right, yeah. So this point is going to be the vertex, the pointy part of the angle here, okay? That's going to be the pointy part. So, now we've set it up, we got ourselves right. We have one ray, we just need to figure out where that other ray is going to go. Again, one thing you could do, right, you guys know, you do have your protractors available here. We could kind of, you know, just measure that and then get the angle is there and recopy it here. But again, I'm going to be looking for the correct construction marks. And if you just use a protractor, you're not going to have those marks and you won't get full credit. Okay, so please make sure you know how to do it this way too. So here's how we're going to do that. Okay, compass point on the vertex B here. All right. Before, it really mattered about how we adjusted things here. But it does not matter so much about how I adjust my compass. I do not need to measure BC, for example. I don't need to measure that. In fact, I'm not going to, just so you guys can see it doesn't matter. I'm going to adjust my compass so that when I go to swipe, I'll hit both sides. That's all you need to do. When you go to adjust your compass there, just measure so that you're going to swipe both sides. Okay, so notice I'm not hitting point C, I'm not hitting point A. It doesn't matter. I don't need to. I don't need to hit those points. So just swipe so that you hit both sides like that. This is where it gets a little bit tricky because of the swiping required. It might be a lot for you guys. If you want, you can also like turn your paper and just leave your compass point alone. See how my paper kind of like just pivots around my compass point? So you can do it this way too, if that makes it easier for you. Just turn your paper. All right. Now that I've done that swipe, and I'm copying here, I'm going to do the exact same thing over to this. So where should I put my compass point here? On that vertex, right here, on this point. Okay, and you're going to do the exact same swipe. Okay, do the exact same swipe. Make it nice and big. Make it nice and big. Okay, you don't need to go the whole way around, but a nice big swipe. You want to make it at least as big as the one you did over here. Okay, at least that big. Okay, so far so good? Any questions? All right, so the next thing we have to do, because we can't copy yet. Like, there's like, all right, we've got this swipe, but it's like, where do we draw that other side? Well, here's what the last step we have to do. When we did the big swipe here, we created two kind of intersection points with that arc. We created an intersection point here. We created an intersection point right there. And so we're now going to take our compass and measure, and again, your intersection points might be at different places because of your arc. Take your compass and you're going to measure that distance. Now mine just happens to be the exact same, it looks like, as my original marking there, but it's about that. Okay? So again, just mark that off just to show that you're measuring now from the two intersection points. You're basically measuring the length of that arc and the angle there. Okay, like that, just swiping through it. Okay. By the way, you don't have to measure from here to here. You could also measure from this point down to this point. It should be the same thing too. Okay, same deal, right? Just either way, measure between those 2 points. And then you're going to take that measurement that you just measured now, and you're going to put that same point right down here on this intersection point. Right there. Okay. So compass point down there, and then swipe. All right, so now we've got these matching points, and then we've created a matching point right here, where those swipes intersect. And now how can we finish drawing our angle here? Yep, just use your straight edge and connect the dots. Connect the dots. Voila. Okay, we've copied it. And if you need me to tighten a screw there, Josh, I can tighten the screw too. If you want to just bring it up front here, I can tighten that for you. Okay, anyone else too? If you need me to tighten your screw for you, if it's like gotten too loose, I can adjust it for you too. There you go. And then let me give you this one too. Hang on. Okay. And yes, I'm sorry guys, these tools can be very frustrating. It's already a frustrating topic, right? It's kind of different and weird, and then to have the tools not be really good for you, I know, it's frustrating, and I apologize. Okay. All right, and so there we've copied the angle. All right, give that a shot and see how it goes. Okay. Questions on that? All right, let's do another one here, but we'll do this one more quickly, right? We don't need to spend as much time. Now I'm going to do an obtuse angle, and you'll see, I mean, obtuse angle is the same steps. It's just that it's a little bit more difficult because you have to make this arc so much bigger, that's all. All right, so I'm going to do an obtuse angle. All right, so just draw a nice obtuse angle on your paper there. I'm going to call this angle GHI. Okay. So nice obtuse angle, and just call that GHI. All right, again, if you feel like you've got this, go ahead, feel free to go ahead of me. Just do it, okay? Just get it done, all right? Go ahead and feel free to go ahead of me. If you get stuck, though, or you get confused, you know, then just wait for me to catch up to you. Okay? Or if you have no idea still, feel free to follow along with me right now. Okay? So here we go. So again, to copy this angle GHI, that's what we want to do over here. I'm going to say as an example, copy angle GHI. Okay? We need a starting place. You cannot just copy into nothing. You need to start with something. So we're going to start with one of the sides of my angles. I'm going to start with this side. I'm just going to, again, just draw I'm going to replicate that. Okay, so I'm just going to draw this bottom side of my angle. This is where point H is going to end up, and then that's just going to be one of the sides there. So I will be, you know, you don't need to put I, you just need the vertex really there. Okay, but that's where the vertex of my angle is going to be. There's my first ray. Now I just need to figure out where that other ray is going to go. All right. So compass point on H. Again, you do not need to measure to I or anything like that. In fact, I am not going to measure to I. I'm going to measure beyond I just because. Okay, just to show you guys, you don't need to measure these points. These points on your angle do not matter. You just need to put it on the vertex and then just do a big old swipe. Okay, a big old swipe. And again, if you're having trouble, turn your paper maybe instead of your compass and just let your paper do the movement. Okay, like so. Okay, just like that. Nice big old swipe. And then we're going to do the same big old swipe over here at our vertex. So again, compass without adjusting it. Copy that over to here. The same thing. Okay, just like that. And like I said, the obtuse angles are trickier because it's so big. All right, so far so good. I haven't lost anybody. Just say something. All right. All right, moving on then. So that created this point right here, and that created this point right here. Those two little intersection points with the arc and the angle. Here the arc intercepted this side of the angle. Here the arc intercepted, here's the arc intercepting that side of the angle. So we're going to take our compass now and measure between those two new points. Okay, measure between those two new points. I'm going to lock that into place. It doesn't go anywhere. All right, and show that little measurement that you did, just a little swipe, just show that you marked that off. Question? Sure, write a pass, yeah, you can go. All right. And then just like, woo. And just like what we did here, right? We measured that off and swiped. We're going to do the same thing over here. Measure it off and swipe. And X marks the spot. Okay, X marks the spot. So we're going to take our straight edge then and finish off the angle. Okay, and so there's the copied. There's the copied angle. All right, now, since we're copying these angles, how should the measure of this angle, how should that compare to the measure of this angle? They should be what? The same. They should be equal, right? I got you. You're getting this stuff okay, right? You're good. Okay. So that's right. Since they're equal, since they're the same in math and geometry, we have a symbol that we use to show that two angles are equal. We put a little arc in there, okay, and we put another little arc in there like that to show that these two angles are equal, okay, or congruent. Okay, the word congruent is what we mean when we say it's the same size, the same shape. These are both the same angles. Okay, we can do the same thing up here to these two angles, right? They're going to be congruent as well since they're copies. All right, another way to show that two angles are congruent is you put the arc in, and then you put like a little tick mark in there to show that they pair up. So it's like a little arc with a tick mark, a little arc with a tick mark to show that these two angles pair up. Okay, that's another way to do it too, to show that they're congruent. All right, we have two more constructions I'm going to show you, but they're actually, well, one's really quick and the other one's about as long as this one right here. Okay, so two more big constructions. All right, two more big constructions. All right, so I'm going to move on here. All right, next thing we're going to do, okay, we're going to find a bisector. Of a segment. Or sometimes you can also say finding the bisector, or sometimes it's also finding the midpoint of a segment. Okay, so you can call this finding the bisector, because what does a bisector do to a segment? A bisector cuts a segment into two equal pieces. Yeah, a bisector, by two, sector to section off. Okay, so a bisector will cut into two equal pieces. Well, if you have two equal pieces, then that point in the middle is the middle point. All right, this is super easy. So easy, so easy, so easy. Okay, very easy construction. All right, you ready for this? So here we go. So we're going to find, here for an example, find the midpoint of AB, segment AB. Okay, so our directions are to find the midpoint of segment AB. So we'll start with a segment AB, and again, y'all can kind of draw AB on your own. So easy. I love this construction. Okay. All right, do a little math and magic here. Here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to take our compass point, put it on A. All right. You'll need to open your compass up more than halfway. Now, I know it's not a very precise adjustment, right? Some of you might say, well, that's more than halfway. And you're right, you can adjust it that much. You could say, Mr. Meyer, that's more than halfway. And I'd say, you're right, you can adjust it that much. And you say, Mr. Meyer, that's more than halfway. And I'll say, yeah, you're right, but now you're kind of being crazy, all right? You probably want to keep it within, like, the length of the segment, okay, something like that. But more than halfway of the segment. All right, once you have it more than halfway, okay, all you're going to do, ready for this, is just one big old swipe here, like that. Okay, yes, I went through the directions, and sometimes when you're doing constructions and stuff, you're going to go through the directions. That's okay. Okay, one big old swipe. And then without opening or closing your compass, you're going to pick up the point, You're going to move the point to point B. Okay, I did not adjust my compass at all. And guess what? Another big old swipe. You should have 2 points of intersection. Your arc should intersect down below your segment, and your arc should also intersect above your segment. So you should have 2 points of intersection that you just created. You should have a point right here and a point right here. All right? Those 2 points, if you put your straight edge on those 2 points, all right, and then you just draw the line between them. There's your midpoint right there. Okay? I refer to this as the football construction, because if you look at it, right, when you do those 2 arcs together, they kind of create a football-like shape, right? Football construction. Okay? This midpoint then, right, so I'll call this M for like the point M for the midpoint. That means that AM, that segment, is the same, right, as M to B. And so to show that, to indicate that in geometry, to show that 2 segments are the same, we put little tick marks on them. Okay, like that. AM, this is showing that this segment, AM, is congruent or equal to the segment MB. So you can put little tick marks there if you want to. Okay? Does anyone see another relationship between this line that we just drew and the segment? What kind of angle is between, did we create by drawing in this line? It's a right angle, yeah, okay. Another word we have for when 2 things intersect to make a right angle, we call them perpendicular, right? So we can also call this thing, it's perpendicular to AB. And in fact, that will be true in general. Okay? This one's so easy. Go ahead, I'm going to have you guys do one here real quick just on your own. So I want you to find the midpoint of CD. Okay? Find the midpoint of segment CD. So I'm going to go ahead, just draw a segment here. I'm going to draw mine kind of crooked just because it's more interesting that way sometimes. Okay? CD, go ahead, find the midpoint. All right? I'll do mine real quick and then I'll walk around and help.
Your compass is adjusting, let me see. It's kind of loose. Let me see if I can get you a better one here. Hang on. All right, let's try this. We point down there, and then swipe like that, and then you try and point B there. Hold it. Hold it at the top, yeah, and that's fine. And then just go ahead and then just twist it, but don't twist it around that. Go ahead. That's fine. It's hard, isn't it? Okay, you're no good. You're good. Good. There you go. Okay, and now you can connect right through there. All right. Everyone else okay here? Looks good. Looks good. Nice. Nice. Good. Very good. We're gonna get some better compasses. Aha. Yeah, too big. Yeah. No, I understand. No, it looks good. That's great. Okay, because sometimes you're gonna run across stuff like that. Okay, yours is moving around on you too. I can see it. So when you do these parts, hold on to this part. You get a nice. Okay, so you try. Put on point D. Don't hold on to this. Just hold on to that. And twist it around that.
Always go.
That's okay. Just try it again. You'll only get better with practice. All right, now go back and swing it back. Okay, not that. So the thing you want to keep in mind here, see, I can see that you were sliding along here to the point. You really want to just, you don't have to push down too hard, but just push it down and just firmly keep it in place there and just pivot it around that point. Okay, don't worry about looking at this so much. Make sure this point is staying right in the spot. And you'll get better swing there, okay?
Looking good. Good job. All right, real quick. Boom, there it is, okay? Should look something like that. Again, here you'll notice I put 2 tick marks. Okay, now the reason why I did 2 tick marks on either side is because I had already used the 1 tick mark, the single tick mark, over here in a different picture. And so if I use the single tick mark here, then you might get confused with it being the same as these 2 parts. Right? So I used two tick marks here just to say, okay, it's these that pair up, and then here for the single tick mark, it's these that pair up, and they're congruent, or equal. All right? All right, one more. Last construction. Last construction. Okay. This is, I have some practice for you after this one, okay? So we're going to find the angle bisector. You're out of paper? I have more paper up front here. Okay. Here, Josh, I'll get you a piece.
All right, we're going to find an angle bisector.
Angle bisector. All right, so we did a perpendicular bisector, or we did a bisector of a segment. Now we're going to cut an angle in half. We're going to cut an angle in half. All right, so let's draw an angle here. Again, I would suggest you start with an acute angle, just because it makes things a little bit easier when you have an acute angle. Oh, sorry, find the angle bisector of angle EFG. Okay. Find the angle bisector of angle EFG. Okay. We are not copying an angle, right? Just like up here, we didn't copy anything. I didn't need to, do this in a separate space. I did all my work on the segment because I was finding the midpoint for the exact segment. Here, same thing. I was finding the midpoint for this segment. Here, I'm finding the angle bisector for this angle. I do not need to, recopy it over here or anything like that, okay? So all my work is going to get done right here. All right? The starting point is just like how we started at angle copy. Well, one of the measures of angle copy. You put your point on the vertex of the angle. Okay, point on the vertex of your angle. Okay, and again, just press in with the point, and then just lightly make a swipe here to hit both sides. You're right, it does not matter how it's adjusted. Notice I'm not hitting E or G, doesn't matter. You need to put the compass point on the vertex for sure. But then as far as your pencil point, as long as it's going to intersect both sides, anywhere. As long as it will hit both sides, you're fine anywhere you want to adjust it. Yeah, good questions, good questions. Okay, just like so. Okay, and again, why do we do that? Well, when we do that, we create 2 points. If you happen to hit one of your points on this side, that's okay too. It doesn't matter. I chose so I didn't hit those 2 points, okay? it creates these 2 points. Now, the special thing about these 2 points is they are the exact same distance to F. From here to this point is the same as from here to this point. All right? So there it is. Right now, you can adjust your compass if you want to, but you don't have to here. In fact, I'm not going to. In general, you won't have to adjust the length of your compass. So what I mean by that is the same length you did to do this arc right here, now just pick that compass up, and where those 2 points are, put your compass point down. All right, and we're just going to swipe into the inside of the angle from here, so something like that. Just swipe into the inside of the angle, make an arc into the inside of the angle. Not really, no. I'll show you why here in a second.
Which point?
Nope, because we're going to do both. We're going to do both, okay? And then you're going to pick your compass point up, and on the other point, do the same arc. And you should get these 2 arcs to intersect somewhere. Okay, you create a little crisscross, the 2 arcs. So again, from this point, all right, let me go back to the beginning. Start from the beginning. Point F. We did a big arc that hit both sides. It created these 2 points where they intersected. So far, so good. Okay. Then I picked my compass up without adjusting it at all. Compass point on that new point that we created. Swipe into the inside of the angle. Pick up my compass. Put it on the other point we created. Swipe into the inside of the angle. You should intersect at some point in there. Okay, it should intersect at some point.
Where'd you get the middle one?
This one? This one right here?
The one on
This one. This one. From this point, swiped in, and then from this point, swiped in, and they should intersect. You're looking for this point of intersection right here. That creates one final point, which now if we take our straight edge and measure from, draw from the vertex through that point, that creates an angle bisector, right? It creates an angle here and an angle here. It cuts this big angle into 2 smaller equal angles. And again, we can show that they're equal by putting a little angle measure there like that. Okay. All right, there it is. Questions on any of that? Questions on any of that? All right, so that was pretty intense, guys. I know it's a lot of instruction and stuff like that. All right, but we're going to be using these throughout this class, at least for the next 3 units, I want to say. So it's important that we really have these constructions down. Okay, don't just let it go by and say, all right, I'll just forget this part. No, you need to know this. Okay, it's going to be important for a couple of units here. So if you don't have it yet, that's okay. We'll have practice with it and stuff. In fact, we're going to do some practice right now.